Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together. And today we're going to be doing a yoga practice, breathing exercise called the pranayama. And so we'll start with some joint exercise. Okay. All right. So we've been changing format slightly now for this will be the third week. This is actually the third week after the election. But that will be done at the end. So we'll continue to have hour and a half worth of exercise and meditation. And for those of you who want to stay for the presentation, we can do that, or you can just watch it on recording. Okay, it's up to you. All right, so we're going to start with some joint exercise. But before we do that, let's adjust our posture. As we get old, it's very important that we learn to stretch your spine. The spine is where the most important essence of our life is cultivated, which is called the marrow, right? And so, as we age, our spine get oxidized, and it's very important to stretch and sort of reverse the process. So we do that by focusing on the very bottom of our spine. We walk up the spine towards the top of the head. As we do that slowly, steadily, we stretch the joints one joint at a time. Get all the way to the top of the head. Stretch as hard as you can. And then we lean back and relax. Now, the second thing we do is we have to open up some of the blockage on the shoulder. All right. And so we're going to focus on the top of our shoulder. We're going to lift up our shoulder together with our upper torso. Lift it all the way up as you're bringing the shoulder to your ears. And then now we're going to open it as far back as we can as we're squeezing something in the back. And then we're going to relax. All right. So now that we're got that out of the way, we're going to start doing joint exercise. Let's focus on the wrists, on the elbow, and then on the shoulder. We're going to start with the wrists. Let's focus on the center of a palm. Let's bring our hands up together with our mind all the way up to the shoulder level. And now we're going to focus on the wrists. We're going to turn our wrists one turn at a time. One turn at a time. Very slowly, very gently. Start at the beginning, finish at the end. Completely focus on the wrists and sense the change in the wrist. See if there's any heat. 咩嚟啊？佢唔會去噶啦，由佢啦嚇。Heat and any numbness, any sweat. One turn at a time. This is a meditation practice. It just happened that we're doing meditation while we're exercising. And now we're going to turn it the other way. Once again, focus on the wrists. One turn at a time. One turn at a time. One turn at a time. Now we're going to bring down the hands, but make sure your mind is actually at the center of your palm. Bring down the hands together with your mind. And then now we're going to stretch the spine one more time. Open that shoulder, lean back, relax. Back again to the center of a palm. Bring up the hands all the way up to the shoulder level. And now we're going to focus on the elbow. Once again, turn the elbow one turn at a time. One turn at a time. One turn at a time. Keep examining the change in the elbow. And now we're going to go the other way. Again, continue to concentrate on the elbow, one turn at a time. And now we're going to bring down our hands and back to our spine. Stretch, open, lean back, relax. We're going to go from our wrist to our elbow to our shoulder. First, we're going to focus on the center of a palm. Bring up a hand, crossing a hand, bring it up in front of us, on top of us. And then now we're going to stretch as hard as we can. Then we're going to focus on the center of the palm. We're going to turn our wrists as if we're touching the walls as we come down. And then we're going to relax. Back again. Stretch. Open the shoulder. Feel the change in the shoulder. Back again. Let go of everything. Start from zero. Stretch. Open. Relax. We're going to do that 2 more times. Stretch. Open. Relax. One last time. Stay focused on the center of your palm. Stretch. Turn the center of your palm outward. Open the shoulder. Feel the change in your shoulder. Now we're going to go the other way. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. And then bring it down. 2 more times. Open first. Stretch. And then bring it back down. All the time, focus on the center of your palm. One last time. Stretch. And then bring it back down. Now we're going to go from the front to the back. Let me just work on the focus a little bit. Okay. And then let me... Yeah, okay. All right. Remember I told you that I have 2 dogs in the house, and supposedly I would have 5 today, 5 dogs and a cat, but because of rainstorm, my son and daughter, they're postponing their trip, so only 2 dogs today. But the German Shepherd, he's very diligent in wanting to attend these classes. So my wife woke up a little bit late today, and he wouldn't leave the house. So there's a lot of commotion in the house right now, okay? So bear with me. All right, so we're going to go from the front to the back, but always come back to the spine. Stretch the spine, understanding that our body parts actually piezoelectric, meaning that when you put stress on it, it generates electricity. And it's with that electricity that we can reverse the oxidation of our spine. And so we stretch and then lean back, take the weight off of your shoulder or your muscle, and then relax. So the weight of your body, weight of your torso is actually on your spine right now. And then open that shoulder and then relax. Okay. All right. We continue with a shoulder exercise going from the front to the back. Now focus on the center of your palm. Remember now the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuja, which means body and mind together. All right. All right. So bring up the hands in front of us, on top of us, all the way in the back. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of the pain. Up. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of the pain. Come back. Focus on the center of your palm. Bring it up. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of that pain. All the way up. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of that pain. Come back to the center of your palm. All the way up. Open the shoulder. Feel the pain. Let go of the pain. One last time. open, feel the pain, let go of the pain, sit up straight, all the way in the back, bring it up, stretch, bring it back down, all the way in the back, stretch, and then bring it back down, all the way in the back, stretch, and then bring it back down. One last time, all the way in the back, stretch, and then bring it back down. So after last week's class, Martha sent me a text message and says, Danny, I hear you're going to be talking about forgiveness next week. So she sent me a very nice link from one of our favorite Qigong master that talks about forgiveness. And then I sent back, I said, no, we're not going to talk about forgiveness. I'm a long way from forgiving someone right now. But we are going to talk about understanding and acceptance, right? Understanding acceptance. And the reason that we need to talk about that is that I talk about how this is going to be a difficult time, right? We're only 3 weeks into this very long, dark journey, and it's already very chaotic. You can tell, right? Everybody knows that. I don't need to talk about that. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough. So, how do we protect ourselves? How do we not think as a victim? This is the key. Don't ever think about yourself as a victim. America is a very strange country, right? It institutionalized victimhood. Everybody's a victim here. Don't ever fall into that trap. An example is that I live in San Francisco. We can never solve the homeless problem in San Francisco because the people who are supposed to solve the problem, what would happen to the job if they actually eliminate homelessness? They won't do it. They just won't do it. They just keep making them into a victim, making us into victims. So whatever it is, don't fall into that trap of thinking that you're a victim. You're not a victim. I'm a warrior. Now, I talk about the warrior having the weapons, defensive or offensive, it's up to you. Having wisdom on one side and then having um, compassion on the other. But a warrior has to have armor too, right? Acceptance and ultimately forgiveness is your armor. It's a firewall. It's how you protect yourself from the chaos. No, don't let that become you. Now, in the coming weeks, I'll be talking about a puzzle, that consists of 7 pieces, and then each piece contains some overlapping elements. Together, it's called the 37 factors of enlightenment. Within that is what's called the 4 foundation of mindfulness. The 4 foundation of mindfulness has to do with mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, and then something called the mindfulness of the Dharma. Now, we've been actually practicing now for the last 12 minutes or so, what I would call the mindfulness of feeling. And the feeling can be pleasant or unpleasant, but whatever it is, you have to let it go because basically the world is impermanent, right? I mean, the election tell you that it's impermanent. All right. So how do we engage a world that is impermanent? Well, first of all, you have to really experience the moment. But once you experience the moment, you have to accept it, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, and then you have to let it go. If you don't let it go, and you're chasing something that's already in the past, that's not good for you. And whether it's good for you or not, the word is called kusala. We'll talk a lot about that today. All right. But right now, let's just focus on our practice. Focus on this one last exercise that we can practice on called the mindfulness of feeling. It just comes in 3 parts. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. We're going to use a shoulder as a vehicle to do that. So let's stretch your spine, stretch as hard as you can. Lean back, relax, open the shoulder, and then relax. Put the left hand in front, stretch out the right hand. Now we're going to anchor. Remember, I used the word anchor. Anchor a mind onto the center of a palm, right palm. Anchoring is important, right? We're trying to ride through this storm, this chaotic storm that is just starting. It's important to put down an anchor. So we anchor our mind on our body when we move. We anchor our mind on our breath when we're stationary. Right now, I want you to anchor your mind on the right palm. That's what we call mindfulness. And then I want you to bring the body and the mind together, make a nice big circle. And then I want you to get ready, open that shoulder, bring it as far back as you can, feel that pain, accept that pain, let go of the pain. When I say let go, I mean re-anchor your mind, this time on the left hand. The pain is already gone. Don't chase after the pain. You chase after the pain becomes suffering. We don't want suffering. Now we're going to take the left hand, open it, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right palm, sit up straight. Open the shoulder, bring as far back as you can. Feel the pain, accept that pain, let go of the pain. Anchor your mind on the left palm. Open the shoulders, make a nice big circle first. Open the shoulder, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right hand side. On the other hand side. Two more times. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, sit up straight. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Now we're going to go from dynamic to static. We will continue our meditation, but this time we're going to come back to the sitting posture. There are 4 postures that human beings are capable of. As far as I know, we're the only species in the animal kingdom that are capable of all 4 postures: sitting, standing, lying down, walking, which includes exercise. So back now to the sitting posture, we'll be focusing on our breath. Before we anchor our mind on a breath, let's put a little stepping stone called knowing. I just know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out, one breath at a time. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. Okay? All right, open your eyes. Now, breath is a very interesting bodily function. All the other functions either fall into um, functions that doesn't require the brain or functions that requires the brain, right? So digestion, swallowing, going to the bathroom, circulations, heartbeat, those doesn't require the brain. If it requires the brain to keep yourself alive, that's not a good thing, right? The other functions like lifting your arm, walking, those require the brain. If your arms stop moving without your brain, that's not a good thing neither, right? So the body functions are separate into these 2 big family. Breathing is the only one that can be one or the other. If you don't pay attention to your breath, it breathes on its own. But interestingly, if you do pay attention to your breath and you just say, well, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, it actually calms down your mind as well, right? It's the breath is the bridge between your body and your mind, right? It's a very important part. All right. So now we're going to continue. We have 2 more exercises, and that's to get us ready for a sitting meditations, where we're now focusing more on the body, right? The other foundations, the mindfulness of the body. Now, when we say mindfulness of the body, we don't just say that like the body itself. What we're talking about is really mindfulness of your physical existence. And your physical existence has to do with your breathing as well. All right. All right. So we're going to get ready. We're going to kind of loosening yourself up first. Right? It's very important that when you sit, you put yourself in. When you exercise, obviously you're in the fight or flight, right? But when you're sitting meditation, you have to be mindful that you need to be in the rest and digest. So we're going to get ourselves into that mode by first doing an energetic exercise. Now, all these 3, the one we just did, this one, and the next one, they're part of the Shaolin inner Nigong exercise. Okay. Now, once again, stretch the spine, lean back, relax, open, lift up your shoulder, open the shoulder, and then relax. This one is called throwing the fist. All right. So we take a right hand, focus on the center of your palm, make a fist, get ready, and then back, up. Feel the vibration coming back to your shoulder. Down, down, up, up, down, down. One last time. Up, up, down, down. Two hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Now, as soon as we do an energetic exercise, we need to spend equal time on restoring our chi, right? Restoring our chi means that we're just going to restore the sensitivity to the steroid. Otherwise, you have too much steroid, too much cortisol in the body, and you actually loses the self-healing power of your body, right? That's a warning to those who to do very energetic exercise like running and weightlifting and all that. You need to spend some time and just calm down, calm the body down, right? So let's come back and just sit for a little while, focusing on the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. All right. Now the next exercise is more of a restorative exercise. It actually energizes your vagus nerve, which is a very important part of your parasympathetic nerve system. All right. Now it consists of the spine, the shoulder, the neck, and then the back, and also deep breathing using your diaphragm. Right. You done all this before, so it's good to do that. So let's stretch, open, relax. Now we're going to take a hand, put the thumb in front of the shoulder. We're going to rub the four fingers. Now this is done in 4 parts. So listen to your elbow. Let your elbow be the guide. Lift up your elbow. All right. So which means that you also lift up your shoulder. You lift up the entire body as if you're bringing your shoulder to the ear level. Now listen to your elbow. Now bring your elbow back, which means that you open up your shoulder as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then you lower your elbow, completely relaxed. And then you point your elbow forward. So now you're looking down at the floor. You're hunching your back and you're squeezing your shoulder forward. Now we're going to go from this last position, I call 4 to 1, right? So you lift up your elbow. Now you're looking straight ahead. And then you open your shoulder. Now you're looking at the ceiling 45 degree. Squeeze the back. And then you lower your elbow. So now you're looking straight ahead until you're pointing your elbow forward and you're looking down, right? Okay, now we're going to combine that with our breathing. As you bring up, you breathe in gently, lift up your body, open the shoulder. And then as you come down, you breathe out, you continue to breathe out until you're completely hunched. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. 2 more times. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. All right, now we're ready for sitting meditation. He's a funny dog. I'm watching on my video camera. He had to go out with my wife, but then he quickly came back, and now he's sitting outside my classroom. He's what we call a Dharma protector. Yeah, by the way. All right. So before we do anything, focus on your body. So this is called the 7 support point sitting posture. It's all through different religion. You see it in yoga practice. You see it in Buddhist practice, Taoist practice. Right? It's very common. And basically, you separate your body into 7 parts. But keep in mind that when you sit like the bell. Okay, sit like the bell, like the Liberty Bell. So imagine your legs are like the pedestal to the bell. So it's nice to be nice and firm, square. And so if you sit like I do and you need to, you can put some blankets and pillows just so you don't use muscle. If you sit on a chair, just put the bottom of your feet below the knee, not in front, not in the back, right? And just the right height so you're not putting pressure on your knee. The second part of your arms, I don't recommend doing mudra, hand gesture, but if you want, you can. But at least don't lift it up like this because then you're using muscle again. It's best that you just relax. For this purpose, just relax. Put that on your knee, on your thigh, on your calf, right? Anywhere. Then comes the third part, which is what we've been doing now, the most important part, which is your spine. Once again, I want you to focus on the bottom of your spine. Walk up the spine, one joint at a time. Stretch the spine towards the ceiling as hard as you can. And then I want you to lean back. And actually, I want you to pay attention to your body as you lean back. And you actually feel a little bit of what I call weightlessness, right? You're actually reducing stress on your body. You feel some additional, it's as if you're feeling a source of energy as you lean back because you're not using your back muscle anymore. You're putting all your weight on your spine. The Taoists actually have a name for that as you lean back, and it's as if you're finding a source of energy. And then I want you to focus on top of your shoulder, bring it up, and then open, and then relax. Now we need to put the weight of the head on top of the spine, so we're not using the neck muscle. So what you do is you focus on your forehead. You lean back the forehead. If you're wearing collar, if you wear a shirt that has collar, uh, this is the time where your neck actually touches the collar. But if you don't, just think that you're putting your ears on top of your shoulder when you do this. Okay, so the weight of the head is on top of the spine. And then it's very important that you tuck in your chin slightly. So the top of the head, which has an energy point called 100 meters, where all the yang energy come together, is actually pointing to the sky on top of your central nervous system. This posture is called the one pillar supporting the sky. Then I want you to focus on your eyelid. Close your eye, but don't shut it tight. If you shut it tight, you're putting stress on your body again. So just relax your eyelid as if you're lowering your window shade. So you can actually see some light coming through the bottom of the window shade. You can see your knee maybe. Just relax your eyelid. And then finally, we need to close the electrical path, which means that we take the tip of the tongue and put it behind a teeth where the teeth meets the roof of the mouth. Relax the jaw. At the same time, you feel some wetness in your mouth because you're actually turning on your saliva gland when you do that, putting yourself in the rest and digest. Now we're going to learn this technique called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. It comes in 3 steps. The first step is just abdominal breathing, what we call mindful um, of your body to create the chi. So again, we start with knowing. I know that I'm breathing in. I can feel the air coming in my nostril. I can feel the body changes when I breathe in. I know I'm breathing out, one breath at a time. Now we're going to go from knowing to anchoring. So we're going to anchor our mind on a belly button. When I know that I'm breathing in, I want to take that belly button and bring it forward. When I know that I'm breathing out, I want to take that belly button and bring it backward, as if I'm collapsing the belly button to my spine. When I breathe in, I bring the belly button forward, opening the stomach, lowering the diaphragm, increasing my lung capacity. As I breathe out, I bring back the belly button, collapsing my stomach, pushing up my diaphragm, pumping all the stale air out of the bottom of my lung. Breathe in, forward, breathe out, backward. This is the first step. Let's sit for 5 minutes. Okay. So this is the first part. It's basically just abdominal breathing, which is very common again in the yoga practice as well as the Taoist practice. If you try to explain it from a modern science point of view, it's basically activates both your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nerve, cycling between the two, creating the harmony between the two. And these days, the scientists actually have a way of measuring the effectiveness of that, and it's called the heart rate variability. Basically, when you breathe in, you enter into the fight or flight, your heart rate actually goes up slightly. And then when you breathe out, you're entering into the sympathetic, parasympathetic, so your heart rate goes down. So the scientists are able to measure what's called the heart rate variability. And turns out that this way of breathing with the element reduce greatly your chance of having dementia. That was the purpose of the study. But I believe that actually has many, many benefits. Ultimately, it is to reduce your chronic inflammation. And the reason that we have chronic inflammation, other than the food that we eat and the environment, is the fact that we have lost our self-healing capability by having too much cortisol. When you're under stress all the time, you develop what's called cortisol resistance. All right. Okay, so now we're going to continue. This practice has a second part. The second part is called cultivating the chi to um, engage the mind. Right? Sometimes I use the word because I don't remember everything. Now, the reason we do the second part is that as you do your abdominal breathing, breathing in and out, opening and collapsing the stomach, lifting up the diaphragm and lowering the diaphragm, you actually create a lot of free electrons in your intestines because once again, they're piezoelectric. And that's why the Chinese call your lower stomach the Dan Tan, the field of qi, field of fire. And so now what we want to do is we want to cycle those electrons through our spine up the top of the head and then come back, creating this loop, this electrical loop, and ultimately a magnetic field that will couple with the magnetic field in the universe. So this second part requires that we let go of a breath. We're going from knowing to anchoring to the third part, which is um, I believe is called emancipating, right? Which is kind of difficult to explain, but Chinese words are hard to translate. But it doesn't matter. Don't worry about the words. Just focus on your experience. Now I want you to just let go of your belly button, but continue to be aware of your breath. You feel your in breath, your stomach actually opens slightly on its own. You feel your out breath, your stomach actually collapses on its own. Maintain that feeling. But now I want you to anchor your mind on the very bottom of your spine. As you breathe in, I want you to walk up the spine, stretch the spine towards the ceiling until you get to the very top of your head. And then as you breathe out, I want you to come from the top of the head to your forehead, to the nose, through the tongue, all the way back down to the belly button. As you do that, I want you to lean back and relax. Breathe in, stretch, go all the way to the top. Breathe out, come back down, lean back and relax. I'm going to sit for another 5 minutes, circulating the chi around the two primary vessel. The one in the back is called a guardian vessel, which is where all the yang energy goes. And then in front is what we call, I forgot what it's called. But in any case, it's the yin, yang and yin. Okay. So breathe in, start at the back. Once again, enter into fight or flight. Breathe out, come back from the front, returning to rest and digest. Okay. Now, the third part is where we talk about the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. It's actually a small refinement on the second. It's more about a pre-warning on what's to come. And basically, all spiritual practice, especially the Buddhist practice, is all about letting go, all about letting go, right? So people will say, "Oh, you just have to let it go." But what they don't understand is that letting it go is not a intellectual exercise. It's not using the brain to let it go. It's the opposite. It's in fact the very opposite. Letting it go is about resting your brain, not use your brain. And you say, well, how can that be? What happens if I don't use my brain? Well, the reason is that we think that the brain is the entirety of our intelligence. The brain is the intellect. It's a small part of our intelligence. The rest of the body is also our intelligence system, especially the spine. The spine is all about sensation, feeling it without judging it. And so the spiritual practice is all about letting it go and just feel it, but don't judge it. And that's about resting your brain. Okay. So now, as you practice this technique, cycling the chi up your spine and down, the first thing's going to happen is that you start to notice something rising on its own. You might call it chi, you might call it energy, you might call it whatever you want to call it, but there's something happening. And as you move from the spine to the top of the head, you feel that something is rising on its own. That's when you, in modern language, that's when you create magnetic resonance between your body and the universe. The universe is magnetic, all right? And as you cycle the electricity through your upper torso, it creates magnetic field, and the magnetic field in your body couples with the magnetic outside, and all of a sudden you feel something rising on your spine. We call that the pearl. In that time, you need to let go and just follow that pearl as if you're the dragon. The dragon always follow the pearl. You ever see lion dance, dragon dance? They always have something in front of the dragon. Dragon always chase after the pearl. So as you breathe in, let that chi rise on its own. Just follow it up the top of the head and then come back down to the belly button. Completely relax. And then it rise again as you breathe in, follow the pearl, and then come back down. All right. Now, then it's important to think that it's a wandering dragon. The dragon needs to be free, not harnessed. So what you have to do is you have to imagine there's a cloud on top of your head. This is just a trick in your mind to say that I don't want to use my brain. I don't want the chi to stop at the top of my head, but rather as it rises, it's as if the dragon sees the cloud, recognize it as its ancestor home. So it leaves your brain, enter into the cloud, and you can even look back at this body as if you're having an out body experience. And as you breathe out, you come back down through the belly button. And once again, as you enter your belly button, you completely relax, as if the dragon returns to a cave. And then when you breathe in again, rise with the chi to the top of the head. Let go. Let the dragon enter the cloud as high as it wants to. Just look back at this body and then come back down when you breathe out. Enter the cave, rest in the cave, and then breathe in and rise again. Okay, now after you do that, you feel this part here, the cave is very warm. You feel that the head is very cool. You feel that your body is very light, and you feel like time had comes to a standstill. 5 minutes is nothing. 50 minutes is nothing. Okay, open your eyes. All right. So we're going to do a little bit more exercise, and then we'll get ready for the breathing exercise called the pranayama. Okay. Now these days, the country is spending a lot of money on taking care of the retired population, right? Because I'm 68. I've been drawing Social Security for a while. I'm very healthy, so I'm not using any Medicare, not at least in any great extent. But turns out, on average, now this is mind-boggling. On average, a retired person spends about $450,000 of Medicare in the last stage of their life. So these days we talk about longevity a lot because it's really a big problem for the country. And the people who talk about longevity start to distinguish between what's called lifespan, which is how long do you live, with health span, how long can you stay healthy, right? So we're all about health span here, and health is neurological health right here. And now this exercise that we just did is a 1,000-year-old longevity exercise popular by the Taoists. And looking at it, practicing it, experiencing it, I can tell you that it's addressing a lot of issues. Abdominal breathing is all about maintaining the harmony between your autonomous system. Maintaining the harmony in your autonomous system means that you're unlocking your self-healing power. You're restoring your sensitivity to your steroid, your natural steroid, what's called cortisol. So when there's any kind of inflammation in your body, it heals itself. You don't develop into chronic inflammation, which is really the source of all modern lifestyle disease. All these modern lifestyle diseases are not attacked by outside; they're developed inside, right? So I understand that. I understand the importance of the spine, stretching the spines in every breath and relaxing in every breath. I understand that. I understand the importance of keeping the left brain and the right brain functioning separately, meaning that connective tissue between the left and the right is the key, maintaining the integrity of that membrane, circling the chi to the top and bottom as if the energy is flowing through the separate is important. And these days, we start to understand that dementia is not a loss of memory. It doesn't start with loss of memory. By the time you see a loss of memory, it's already too late. It actually starts with loss of coordination. Left brain, right brain not working. All right. So I understand all that. I understand all that. Catherine asks, is it okay if I move slightly the upper body with the meditation? The answer is yes, your body will move. And the point is, remember what I said, the ultimate key to spiritual practice is let go of your brain. Let go of your brain. Don't try to beat your body into submission. Let your body flow, right? So if your body start to move, let it move. And I remember last time someone asked me, said, is it okay that I go from the front to the back? And then my answer is, well, sometimes it does. I don't know why. I'll be there, like meditating. All of a sudden, hey, wait. How come it's going from the front to the back? The body does what it wants to do because the body is aligning with the universe. Okay. All right. So some stretching. All right. Some stretching. I think we have time for some stretching. Now, this is to prepare for pranayama by opening up the yang channel in the back and the side, right? On top and all that. All the areas of your body that is facing the sun. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths. All right. Once again, stretch, lean back, open the shoulder, relax, lock your fingers, put that on the belly button. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. So follow the center of your palm, raise your body as you breathe in, okay? Breathe until your hands get to the top like this, okay? Get ready. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lock your elbow and then open your fingers and then use your shoulder, climb as hard as you can. Lock the elbow, okay? Back, relax. Second time, sit up straight, breathe in. Breathe out. Looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain using your shoulder. Back one last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain. All right. Now we'll lock your fingers again. Palm facing up. Sit up straight. Palm facing down. Bring down your palm. Lock your elbow. Bring up your palm. Palm facing forward. Locking your elbow. Palm facing the sky. Lean back slightly, forming a straight line between the bottom of your spine, the top of your head, and the center of your palm. And then push, extend that spine as hard as you can. And then lean back. Come back to the middle, lock your elbow, stretch. Lean to the left. Come back. Push. Lean to the right, locking your elbow now. Then back. Push to the left. Come back to the middle. One last time, push to the right. Come back to the middle. Focus on the center of your palm, mind, body together. Relax, opening the shoulder. Relax, putting your right hand on the left shoulder. Lean back your forehead so you're putting pressure on the right shoulder. Grab your right elbow, sit up straight, stretch to the left, and then come back, changing hands. Again, lift up your forehead so you're looking straight ahead, putting pressure on the left shoulder, and then grab the left elbow and then stretch. Come back, focus on your breath. One breath at a time. I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Once again, stretch the spine, open the shoulder, lean back. Left hand, palm facing up, fingers forward. Right hand, fingers and palm. Bring down the left hand, push out the elbow, eyes looking forward, elbow up, palm facing forward, bring it to eye level, sit up straight, okay? Without turning your body, take the left hand and then bring it to the right. Lock your elbow, okay? Now back, relax, right hand, sit up straight, bring down the right hand, elbow out, looking forward, palm facing up, facing forward, locking your elbow, okay? Without turning your body, right arm to the left, and then back, relax, back to your breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now stretch your spine again, open that shoulder, relax. Right palm facing up, left palm facing down, open that shoulder, right palm up as if you're pushing the sky, push it all the way, lock your elbow, lock your elbow. Now left palm facing down, push it down, and then lock your elbow. Make sure the wrist is at 90 degree. And then now bring your right arm back, left, turn your head to the left until you reach the shoulder, and then turn your eyeball as if you're looking at your back. Bring back your eyeball, bring back your head, and then relax. Open the shoulder, left side up, lock your elbow, wrist at 90 degree. Right side down, lock your elbow, wrist at 90 degree. Left arm back, head to the right, eyes to the back, eye come back, head come back, and then relax. Back to the breathing, one breath at a time. Now we're back to the spine. The most important yang channel, okay, is the spine. All right, so we're gonna stretch the spine, sit up straight, open that shoulder, lean back, relax. Locking fingers, palm facing up, palm facing down. Stretch until you lock your elbow. Now, at the same time, focus on the center of your palm and the top of the head. Top of the head go up, palm go down, one up, one down. Stretch that spine as hard as you can, and then relax. Lean back, so you're looking at the ceiling, 45 degree, and then raise your arm as hard as you can, and then relax. Back to the breathing. Okay, it's very important that after we do energetic exercise, we do a restorative exercise, focusing on the breath. Now, once again, stretch, open, relax. Right arm touching the back, top of the head towards the ceiling, looking straight ahead. Lift up the right shoulder, and then relax. The other side. Sit up straight, lift up the left shoulder, and then relax. Right arm, back of the hand touching the lower part of the spine, fingers pointing to the left shoulder. Right shoulder down, fingers up. relax. The other side, left shoulder down, fingers up. Now sit up straight, looking straight ahead, hands touching, looking straight ahead. Right shoulder up, left shoulder down, and then the other side, looking straight ahead, left shoulder up, right shoulder down, and then relax. Back to the breathing. One breath at a time. Restore that sensitivity to your cortisol, okay? Because when you are in fight or flight, the adrenal gland release all the stress hormone, one of which is the cortisol, which is a steroid, because that's a time when you have inflammation and it wants to reduce inflammation. That's how your body was designed. But then you need to restore that balance by focusing on your breathing. One last exercise, stretch, open, relax, palm touching, center of palm touching, fingers touching, sit up straight. Turn your hand so the fingers are pointing up, bring your palm up, touching your palm, sit up straight. And then push your palm forward, open the shoulder. One open, one push forward, one push back. Maintain that pressure, focusing on your breath. And then relax, focusing on your breathing. One breath at a time. Okay, now we're ready for the floor exercise. We're going to start with some joint exercise on the lower part of our body. Okay. And we're going to work on a knee, huh? Work on a knee. The knee is like the elbow, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to heel. The heel is like the wrist, okay? So right foot forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now left foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're working on the toes, right? The toes always like the fingers, huh? All right, so we're going to stand with the feet the width of a shoulder. We're going to focus on top of the head. We're going to bring the top of the head up and lift up our heel, standing on our toes. Focus on the top of the head, looking straight ahead. And then as we come down, we impact the heel slightly. Make sure you do that on carpets, not on a hard floor. Okay. Second time, focus on top of the head. And then down. One last time, focus on top of the head. And down. All right. Now we're going to kick our leg same way that we throw our fist, right? All right, so now, but we're going to balance on the left foot. Now, it turns out if you have dementia or the beginning of dementia, you're not going to be able to do this. Left brain, right brain are not separate, so you cannot balance. This is actually a very old exercise called the one chicken standing on its leg. Chicken standing on one its leg, right? I'm sorry, I lost focus. All right, so now focus on top of the head, okay? Focus on top of the head, looking straight ahead, and then 1, come back to the top of the head. 2, come back to the top of the head. And then 3, okay? Because I'm laughing too much. Second time, all right? Balance, focus now. 1, 2, and 3, okay? One last joint is the hip, very important. The hip is very important. This is one of the things that the Westerners, right, whether you're Chinese or not, doesn't matter. The people who live in the developed world, they don't use the hip. They don't use the hip, so they fall very easily. When you fall, the only way you can react is with the hip. Otherwise, you fall like a sack of potato, right? So the flexibility of the hip is very important, right? So that's why you go dancing, right? Now, stand on your right, bring back to the left, form a straight line between the heel, the knee, the hip, and the shoulder, and you turn along this axis until you can't turn anymore. You keep turning. Then you come back and you relax. Second time, turn, forward, relax. One last time, turn, forward, and then relax. All right, now to right hip. Bring back to the right, turn, forward, relax. Bring back, turn. Now it's important that you turn as hard as you can. And if you don't think you can turn anymore, just keep pushing, maintaining that pressure. And then forward. But don't hurt yourself, okay? I can't help you. And then relax, right? Hip is very important. All right. Okay, so we're ready for breathing exercise, right? Breathing exercise. Basically coming back to using the diaphragm. All right. Now, again, it's a meditation practice. So need to anchor your mind on the center of your palm. Bring it up. 1. Bring it towards yourself. 2. Bring it down. Stand up. 4. Breathe in. 1 and 2, you breathe in. 3, you breathe out. 4, you relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now breathe in, cross your hand. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, for those of you who are who cannot stand for a long time, you can do this sitting down as well. Okay. Breathe out. All right. So now we're going to do 1 minute of standing meditation. I mentioned how when we sit like the bell, the Liberty Bell. We stand like the pine tree, which means that we have to stand with the feet firmly on the ground, but the rest of the body has to be flexible. So if you could, unlock your knee. So you're using the calf. The calf is your second heart. Let the fire element rises. Then you come to your shoulder, you open the shoulder, relax. Then you come to the forehead, lean back, tuck in, relax. Then relax the eyelid. Okay? You stand like the pine tree. And then you completely focus on your breathing. I know I'm breathing in. 1 breath at a time. I know I'm breathing out. 1 breath at a time. Okay, now we're going to do the second step, which is called the balloon breathing. So right foot forward, lean back. So you're looking at the ceiling 45 degrees. Notice that the toes are up. You bring up your hands, you follow the center of your palm, you roll your body forward. So you're looking at the floor 45 degrees, and the left foot, the heel is up. Come back, open, looking at the ceiling. As you roll forward, you breathe in. Follow the hand. As you roll back, you breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Follow the hand. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now follow the hand. Bring down your hand. Going from the center of your palm to the bottom of your feet. 1 step, 2 step. Now we're going to go into a standing meditation for 1 minute. 1 breath at a time, right? 1 breath at a time. As if you're feeding a baby, 1 spoon at a time. Okay, left hand side. Get ready. Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Breathe in. Always relax on your out breath. Okay. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower your hand. Back to standing. 1 minute of standing meditation. Stand like the pine tree. Okay. Now we're going to do the butterfly. Get ready? Bring up your hands and then bring it back down. Lower your knee as you do that. And then bring it back up. Raise, lower your knee. And now you raise your knee as well as your heel. You're standing on your toes. Back of the hand touching. As you come down, you breathe in. As you go back up, you breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now lower your hand, lower your heel, back to standing position. 1 minute of meditation, focusing on your breath, one breath at a time. Okay, now come to the third form, which is called push hand. So once again, right foot forward, but you don't need to lean back specifically. You just want to roll with that water wheel in front. You imagine you have a water wheel in front. You just bring your hand up the water wheel all the way to the top of the head, up the top of the wheel. Bring it back down, lower your body as you do that. And then as if the water wheel is still there, and you just kind of draw a straight line through the center, right? Through the center, you push. Okay, breathe in all the way in, lower your body, and then breathe out. Try not to use your brain. Try to feel the body, feel the air without judging yourself. Don't even ask yourself, am I doing it right? There's no doing it wrong. Just feel it. I'm not even watching you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Back to the standing. 1 minute. Okay. Left hand side. Get ready. Breathe in. Breathe out. Wax on. Wax off. Don't even think about it. Just feel your body. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. In. Out. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. One last time. In. Out. Back to standing. One last minute. The one that barks is the small one. That's the aggressor. The big one is the protector. Okay. One last exercise, very simple one. This one actually deals with a condition called adrenal fatigue. When you have too much stress, your adrenal gland give up and you have a lot of issue. So this one actually focus on that, giving it delivering oxygen to your kidney and your adrenal gland. So you take a deep breath and then you breathe out. Now be careful, okay? Breathe out all the way down and then bend your back forward and then you breathe in again. And then you bend your back like that, all right? Okay, second time, breathe out. Breathe in. Relax. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out, and then breathe in. And then relax. Okay. Now, when you go to a doctor, they always give you a simple test, which is they ask you to sit down and then they ask you to stand up just to see if you have lightheadedness. And this is the extreme form of that. Okay. And when you have lightheadedness, when you change gravity, it's because your adrenal gland is not reacting fast enough. That's why you have lightheadedness. Okay. Okay, let's sit for, we have perfectly 5 minutes. So let's sit for 3 minutes and then I'll spend 2 minutes doing some massage, simple massage, okay? All right, so 3 minutes, do it the way you like, right? Any way, practice on your own. Okay, now I hope you maintain this meditation practice, but also I will also say that if you do a like 15-minute meditation, which is only 1% of the day, I mentioned that there are 1,440 minutes in a day, so 15 minutes is a little over 1%. That's not that much, but if you develop that practice of maybe sitting for 15 minutes in the morning or at evening, doesn't matter. Um, I would ask that you stand for a few minutes first, right? So that you have you when you stand, you actually let the fire element rises, so you have a better chi situation in your body. And then when you sit, you can actually have more energy to sit. So I recommend that you do that. But then I also recommend that after you sit, you massage. All right. So let's learn how to massage. So you need to focus on this energy point right here, which is in between your middle fingers and index finger as you come down between the fingers to the middle of the palm, and you just kind of do some acupressure. This energy point is called the palace of labor. It's the only energy that puts out, only energy points that puts out energy. So this is important part of a self-healing. Now you put them together and you imagine there's a circle around them and you put the hands in a circular pattern, but focus on it. Focus on it. So you bring your mind and your body and your chi together. Now, first we're going to massage a hand. So now the hands are not just fingers. The hand represents the five elements, which are the water, the the mineral, the soil, the sun, and the vegetation, if I remember correctly. And so they actually represent your internal organs. The heart is the fire, the lung is the mineral, the kidney is the water, the liver is the soil. No, liver is the vegetation or the wood, and then the splint is the soil, right? So it actually represent all your internal organs. So now we're going to take this right palm, put that on top of your left hand, squeeze the fingers, and just kind of massage your finger first, and then now the other way, and then back to the center. And then now I want you to put that on your eye, but with making a cavity so you're not touching. And if you want, you can actually open your eyes, see into the darkness. And right now you feel nothing. And then the second time, your eye is adjusting to the infrared, and you're going to feel a little bit of warmth. And then the third time, once again. And then massage the face from the forehead to the chin, massage the side, massage the temple, and massage the forehead, starting with in between your eyebrow to the forehead. And then right where the hair starts, it's another energy point here. And then the top of the head, right? Remember what I said, neurological health is health. So this is the part of the brain that is responsible for all your cognitive functions. You move towards the top, slightly back is where the memory rests, and then further down is the motor functions. So, and then the neck, and then on top of the ears, back to the face, back to the fingers. All right. Okay. So thank you for coming. Now, if you just come here for the exercise, this is the end of class. But I promise that I will start to talk about um, a little bit about the Buddhist training. Um, I think this is the time when we will need to protect ourselves with all the tools that are available, so become uh, we don't engross in what's going on outside. The world is chaotic enough, and I like to think that this is a sanctuary for us. I like to think that this is a sanctuary for us. And by the way, if you look for the, I don't know if I should say that. You know who you are. You come to the wrong class. This is not for you. This is for those who cares about freedom, cares about joy, loving kindness, and compassion. And this is the sanctuary for us. This is the time that we need to get together. Now, in the past, in the beginning of the class, in the very beginning, maybe 4 years ago, I talked about what I wanted to do, what I wanted to achieve. And this is back in the days where we focused mainly on the exercise. And I said that I like to use this exercise routine to get us to discover our existence, that our existence is multidimensional, that it's not just the physical existence, that our existence is beyond the physicality. And I talk about how our existence consists of chi, energy, and then consists of a mind. And I mentioned how the North Indians, the yogis, they think of our existence in this very interesting, complex way, like the Russian Tao, one inside another. And the very outside is what they call the food body. That's the banana you ate this morning. That is the food body. This is the body that you got when you were born, and you're going to give it back when you die. Not a single cell is can you retain. The inside of that is what they call the mind, the thinking mind, and then inside of that is their energy. And they instead of chi, they talk about nadi, and they think that the energy is actually from the universe. There's 72,000 nadis, and the intercept of those nadis form the chakra. And there's more than seven. There's actually 114, I believe. And then inside, there's more and more. Now, Buddha, the historical Buddha, by the way, his name after he became enlightened, his name is Sikamori. Sikamori is an interesting name because Sika is his family name. It means wisdom. Mori is the name that he's given himself as a Dharma name, and it means compassion. So when I talk about Shambhala warriors, when I talk about how we have to face the future with compassion and wisdom, we were really talking about Sycamore. But in any case, he was a prince, as you know. He lived about 600 years before Christ, before the birth of Christ. And he decided that he wants to be a monk, or at least a yogi. And he has a little bit different interpretation of our existence, very similar to the original way of thinking it in these five layers, one on top of each other. He talks about our existence in terms of the five chakras. I'm sorry, five skandhas. Skandhas. Now I'm going to put all that in a class note. So every week there will be a set of class notes that I put on Facebook as well as Patreon. And so these are called skandhas. Skandhas are kind of like I like to think of it as like five funnels, right? One after another and another. And the five skandhas consist of form, which is everything physical about us, including our environment. So our eyes, our nose, our tongue, our ears, our body, and our brain is all in this one skandha called the form, the physical. But it also consists of what's outside. So in a way, you can think of it as a funnel that takes the physics into our physiology. So the physics are like the light, the smell, the taste, the sound, the touch, and so forth. And that's called a form. That describes everything physical about us. The other four is what describe what's metaphysical about us, beyond the physics. So the next one, there's different translations. I like sensation. Some people call it feeling. I don't like the word feeling because feeling means that we assign value. This is just sensation. This is what I said. This is just how the body reacts to the environment. And so if you think of it as neurology, it's really how the eye senses light, creates electricity, and all the nerve endings goes to the spiral cord, not to the brain. This is interesting. That's why I said our intellectual system is way beyond just our intellect. So this next form, again, is a funnel taking what the body creates, which is electric signal, and then concentrate it into our spines. This is called sensation. So at this moment, it doesn't make any difference whether you're looking at a tabletop that's brown or ice cream, chocolate ice cream that's brown. Brown is brown. Eye sees brown. That's it. Now, the next standards, another funnel, is called perception. This is when all the electrical signal got collected, go through the spiral cord up into the brain. And the brain says, oh, that's ice cream. No, that's tabletop, whatever, right? So that's called the sensation. And finally, the brain creates something called a mental factor. This is where you say, I like, I don't like. And that's called volition. Now, there's one thing that is difficult. So far, we're talking about what a Western sciences will tell you. The last part is a little beyond the modern science. It's called consciousness. This is the one where you take your like and dislike and leave in a history, leave an imprint. It's called karma. Now, the problem with karma is that people misinterpret that and say, oh, that's karma, like as if there's something that is fixed, cannot be changed. The reason they do that is it's a tool for oppression. Because in the old days, or maybe even today, there's a lawsuit going on in the Bay Area between the Indians. They're suing each other because of the caste. 1,000-year-old system of oppression still exists today within our technology sector. Indians came here, work as engineer, and they discriminate between castes. And this is what happens in North India because the oppression, the class, the oppressed are Aryans. They actually came way north during the last ice age, and the Aborigines are the lower caste. They're the slave, and so in order to impose that, they have this concept called karma. This is it. You were born with it. Turns out in China, the same thing. The emperor say, "Well, that's karma." What are you going to do? Well, the historical Buddha, Sikamori, was the one that says, "No, karma can be changed." That's revolutionary. But it's important to understand that karma is a record of your mental state, not your physical action, but your mental state. Even when you think it, there's a karma. I think of it as growing tomato. I have a field, I have tomato. I have to buy some seed. Oh, I go and buy some really good seeds. I grow really nice potato. Someone comes in here and disturb my field, and all of a sudden my tomato becomes bitter. So you say, "Well, I ate the tomato, nothing happened." No, there's seeds left. And then from now on, your field is full of bitter tomato. That's karma. But it can be changed. That's the point. If it cannot be changed, there's no point of any spiritual practice. We can change our life by understanding how our existence work. Now let's come back, talk about the mental factors. This is how a brain works. When a brain senses something, it says, "I like, I don't like." Buddha really analyzed that, and it says there's 51 mental factors. The simplest way to think about it is that there are mental factors that are virtuous, and then there are mental factors that are non-virtuous. That's the easiest way to think about it. Remember last week I talked about this story, old Native American story about the grandfather, the chief, talks to his grandson, and he says, there are two wolves within us, right? One is about hate, and one is about compassion. Remember that? Well, in a way, those are the mental factors. So let me bring that up and see if I could repeat that. And so the grandfather said to the grandson, he says, "One wolf is evil. It represents anger, jealousy, greed, resentment, inferiority, lies, and ego. The other one's good. It represents joy, peace, love, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, and truth." Now, the difference is, in Buddhism, we don't use the word evil and good, because evil and good requires judging. We don't judge. Instead, what we use is kusala and akusala. Kusala is virtuous, is what's good for you, good for your eternal life. Akusala is non-virtuous, is what's bad for you. You choose. You choose. One lead you to light, one lead you to darkness. So if you understand, if you look at the 51 mental factors, it turns out the virtuous factors are very few. They're very few. That's why we need each other. The virtuous states, what I call kusala states, are faith, dignity, propriety, non-attachment, non-aggression, not delusion, diligence. I don't understand that word. Penancy, consciousness, equanimity, and non-violence, and that's it. The destructive emotions, the non-virtuous, the akusala, start with ignorance, desire, anger, pride, doubt, and his own twisted beliefs. And it goes on: rage, resentment, spitefulness, cruelty, envy, deception, pretension, lack of shame, disregard, concealment, miserliness, self-satisfaction, lack of faith, laziness, carelessness, forgetfulness, inattention, lethargy, excitement, and distraction. And the list goes on. So let's stop here. Let's stop here and understand that our mind works the way it works. We're fully capable of both virtuous and non-virtuous mental factors, and we react to them. But it's a choice. We can choose one side versus the other. One side leads you to light, and one side leads you to darkness. Before I finish, I'm going to tell a story. It's a very good story. I tell it many times. Back in the days when Sycamore was just a yogi, he traveled for 6 years, practiced yoga, spiritual yoga. Eventually decided that he needed something else. And so he sat down on the Bodhi tree and he meditated. And in fact, the very technique that led him to enlightenment is the one we practice in the beginning called the mindfulness of feeling. He scans his body, he feels it, he accepts it, and he let it go. That was his technique. But in any case, after he became enlightened, he decided to come back to visit his family because he escaped from his family. And when he came back, the day he came back, his nephew was born. His nephew's name was Anada. And when Anada grew old enough, he decided to follow Sycamore and become his attendant. Now, usually when you become a monk's attendant, you are a novice. A monk is called Bichu, and a novice is called Same. So usually, after a few years, the master would say, you got to go. It's time for you to become a monk and a Bichu, and you got to go and do your thing. Another decided that he didn't want to do that. He wanted to follow Buddha. So he was actually 45 years old. He was the oldest Same. He was until Buddha passed away 45 years later. But in any case, they become traveling partners, traveling companions all the time. And another thing was that he wanted to follow Buddha so he can record everything he said. That's why in the beginning of every sutra, there's something called "Thus I record," "Thus I heard." And so in my channel, I play with that and I call it "Thus I record," right? So one day they were walking by a tree, a banyai tree. So Buddha says to Ananda, do you know the story of this tree? Now, do you know, if you ever seen a banyai tree is a big tree trunk, sometimes hollow inside. I grew up with that. In Macau, we have plenty of those. And then it has a lot of sort of thing hanging down to breathe. You see them. And he says, do you know the story about the banyai tree? And another said, Master, no, I don't, but I will record it. So the master says, well, there was once upon a tree, and for some reason, a non-virtuous seed fall next to it. A non-virtuous seed fall next to it. And we're talking about the non-virtuous mental factors now. A non-virtuous seed fall next to it. It starts to grow. And as it grows, it entangles the regular tree. It consumes the original tree for nutrient to the point where the original tree die and disappear. And that's why the tree is hollow. He says, that's what happened to us. That once you let that non-virtuous thoughts continues, it consumes who we are. And we can no longer recognize our true existence. I like to think that all of us here are not completely entangled by a non-virtuous thought, that we still have plenty of compassion and loving kindness and empathy and equanimity within us. That's why this is a sanctuary for us. Namaste. See you all next week. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.